All right, students, I just wanted to do a couple videos about the quadratic formula. In this video, I'm just going to focus on why it works. In other words, how do we know that this crazy solution actually gives us the solutions? And then in the next video, I'll focus on where the formula actually comes from. Both of these are a little bit more advanced than what you will be asked to do on the test, but I think it's a really good thing to watch the process and see if it makes sense to you what I'm doing, even if you maybe couldn't do all the algebra steps yourself. So here's the quadratic formula just written out. X equals negative b plus or minus a big square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And what we're claiming, what the quadratic formula claims, is that it tells you the solutions to this equation. It tells you the solutions when your equation's in standard form. So what I'm going to do in this video is prove to you that if you plug this in for the letter x, it will actually give you an answer of 0. In other words, I'm checking my solutions. That's how we've checked solutions all year long, is we get a solution, we plug it in for x, we see if it actually makes the equation work. So let's try it out. So it's going to look really nasty at first. So right now, all I'm doing is plugging it in for the letter x. So there it is plugged in for x with ax squared. Now I'm plugging it in for x where it says bx. And then I have a plus c. And I'm going to just check, does this actually equal 0? So the first thing that I can do is square out this left side. And so it's going to look like this. The bottom's easy. 2 squared is 4. A squared is a squared. The top is hard. So let's write it out. Squared means you write it out twice. And you multiply it. Right? That's what squared means. That you write it out twice and multiply it. On the other one here, I'm not going to do anything with that quite yet. I'm just writing it down. Okay. Now when we multiply over here on the left side, remember we use those different arrows for FOIL. F, O, I, L. Okay? And so what do we get? Now one other thing that I can do when I simplify here is a divided by a squared. So I can cancel out one of the a's just like we did with our exponent properties. Okay, negative b times negative b makes b squared. Negative b times the square root. What I'll do for this one is I'll just show you it with the plus in the middle instead of with the minus in the middle. And then I'll talk about why the minus gives you the same answer. So we have negative b times that whole square root. And we have another negative b times that whole square root of b squared minus 4ac. And then the last thing is square roots and squares cancel. So we have plus b squared minus 4ac because I canceled out the square root. And that's all divided by 4a. On this next part, I will also distribute the b value there. So we have plus negative b squared plus b times b squared minus 4ac. And that's over 2a plus c. So we're getting somewhere. When I look over on the first fraction on the left side, what I notice is that there's 2b squareds. There's 2b times the big old square root. And there's minus 4ac, all divided by 4a. When I look at the next piece right here, the second fraction, I see that the denominator is only 2a. So I want to double that to make it match up with the 4a. And when I look over at the letter c, its denominator is 1. So I want to multiply that by 4a to make it match up with the other denominators. So now here's what I have. I have plus negative 2b squared plus 2b times the square root of b squared minus 4ac, and that's over 4a, plus 4ac over 4a. And now here's where the magic happens. If you look at this, you'll notice the same things are showing up over and over again, and they're in opposites. So I have a positive 2b squared here and a negative 2b squared here, and so those will equal 0. I have a negative 2b times b squared minus 4ac, and I have a positive 2b times b squared minus 4ac, so those will equal 0. I have a negative 4ac and a positive 4ac. So when you add up your fractions, you can add up all the tops of the fractions because they have the same denominator, and you get 0 over 4a, which equals 0. So we just checked that the quadratic formula really worked. It really gave us a solution. It really made the problem equal 0. If you remember a couple minutes ago, I said I was going to only look at the plus part and then talk about why it works for the minus as well. So what I'll do in a different color is just show you how it would have looked a little different if I had done the minus. So instead of doing the plus, if I had chosen the minus part here, then this would have been a positive, and this would have also been a positive. And this over here would have become a negative. And so we would have had here a positive 2b, and here we would have had a negative 2b, and it would also equal 0 just the same. So in this video, all I showed you is that the quadratic formula really is a solution when your equation is in standard form, because it makes the equation equal 0. In the next video, I'll show you how you can come up with the formula yourself. But again, both of these videos are not things that are required on the unit test. I just think it's good information for you to have.